Hello, hello, everybody. It's JJ Conway. I'm so excited to be here with y'all today. My screen was black for a second, so if I look like I'm trying to figure out what's going on, it's because I'm kind of trying to figure out what's going on. But I'm so excited to be with y'all today. For those of you who are new to me, I'm JJ Conway. You can find me on social media at JJ Knows the Way. And while we're waiting on everyone to get on the line, I do have a few announcements that I want to go over. First of all, those of you who paid to be in the class, I want to thank you from the bottom of your heart for helping me test out a new platform. And guess what we learned? We learned that this new platform was a little more difficult to use than I expected. Okay. So those of you who are on the course platform, we've had some lumps and bumps, and I promise you, if I can't get it straightened out, and I'm going to say this because I've taken a lot of classes from people who did not actually finish out their classes because they're not counting on you actually finishing the class. So they figure they got your money. They know you're not going to log back in to finish your class. Look, you and I both know half the stuff we sign up for, we don't ever finish, right? But I wasn't that kind of person. You know, I wanted to get everything I could get when I spent my money on something, but if I can't get it straightened out by Wednesday of next week, which at the time that we're recording this is Thanksgiving week, I'm literally going to mail you, those of you who are in the class, who paid for it, a disc with your videos on it. It's my way of saying thank you. Thank you for helping me test out this new system. And I know most of you save $400 or more, right? Like some of you's got a $500 course for only $7 because I messed up the pricing. But really, and this is a great business thing for anybody who's in business, whether you paid $1 or $500, I want to make sure you get a quality product, right? Like when I go to give a keynote and I have a keynote, I have different keynotes on different topics. So we have the Empower Technical Leader, we have the money myths that are keeping you broke, we have building wealth together, we have the wealth matrix. Like we have these different things. We have the debt-free real estate investing. I need to give that a cool title. But whatever it is that somebody brings me in for, if they've got an audience of 500 people or they've got an audience of two, I don't have separate keynotes. Like I don't take my Empowered Technical Leader keynote and say, well, you only got two people, so I'm going to cut off this and cut off that and cut off that. And instead of my $10,000 keynote, I'm going to give you a $200 keynote, right? Like I don't have that option. Okay. Well, I do have that option, but that's not how I roll. Hang on just a quick second. I am going to try to move my camera because I feel like it's in the wrong place and I feel like I don't look like I'm looking at y'all. And we already had enough technical issues and I thought it was hilarious, y'all. Okay, I thought it was hilarious. Let's see if that's any better. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Yeah, maybe it's just me. It's today. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious about the fact that this is a lesson on persistence, and there were so many different things that happened that tried to derail me from actually teaching. I was like, I see you coming, devil, and we got something for you. All right, but really though, I want you to have a quality product, even if you only paid $1. I want you to have a quality product because I remember when $1 was precious to me. I remember being $845,000 in debt. And some of you with me today, you got that $7 blessing. You know that the Lord did that just for you because you really needed a change in your life and you couldn't even afford $25 early bird or the $99 that is priced right now till we finish teaching it, right? Like you clicked the link just to see if perhaps the special deal was special enough for you. And you saw that it was $7 for a $500 class and you jumped on it because it was such a blessing. And I know that what we've done has been a blessing. And I want you to get all your blessings. So some of the lessons we're having trouble getting them, we're having trouble with the system. It worked fine. And now I don't know what they did with it. And so some of the lessons are missing and we've recorded them. Some of you were on the private recordings, right? But we just have to get them trimmed and not trimmed. We've got most of them trimmed. We just got to get them in the system. And if we can't get them in the system, like I said, I'm going to make you a disc and we're going to get it done. Because I'm going to tell you one thing JJ Conway is not going to do. I'm not going to have a trail of broken promises laying behind me, because I want to make sure you get everything that you paid for. Now, look, if you thought you were going to pay and you were going to get 20 hours of free coaching with me, that was not part of the bargain. I say that because I had somebody who was like using their free coaching. Like every day they wanted a 30-minute free coaching session. And I was like, okay, well, how about you finish your homework first? Anyway, I didn't mean to start off like that. I guess that's kind of mean, but it's true though. You got to stop letting everybody take all your time, because then you won't have time for the things that are important to you. All right. Speaking of getting all your blessing, I want to encourage you to register for Countdown to Your Best Year Ever. You should see the link right underneath my name. It is jjclink.com/BYE for Best Year Ever. And it does look like bye. And I didn't realize that when we first made the link, but I'm like, you know what? You could be saying bye to all the bad energy of your last couple of years. You could be saying bye to all the frustrations of your last couple of years. You could be saying bye to all the things that you didn't want. And we might change that in the future, because I don't like to dwell on negativity. I'd rather say hi to the things I'm welcoming. But for now, it's BYE, Best Year Ever. Countdown to your best year ever. Hey, do you know why most New Year's resolutions fail? Do you know why? They fail because we have been taught that success comes from getting more disciplined and working harder. And guess what? You've been working harder. You've been trying to get disciplined. You've bought the courses. You've bought the journals. You spent so much time trying to get ahead, and year after year after year, it seems like you are stuck in the same old rut. The only difference between this year and last year is today you're more tired, you're more worn out, your health is suffering more, your relationships are suffering more. Well, guess what? It's time to do something about it. And the first thing to do about it is to know that this wasn't your fault. See, if you've been in the Think and Grow Rich class, you've learned that you're never going to out-discipline the programming of our old beliefs. You can't willpower through a lot of this stuff. You have to attract it. You have to deal with it on a subconscious level. You have to make it welcome, and making it and really transmuting the energy of those old beliefs is a subconscious program. It's a subconscious process. You can't just think your way into it. You can't just bully your way into it. If it could, most of us would do it, because we intellectually know what we need to do. It's like we all know how to get healthier. We may not know everything. I've learned that calories in doesn't always equal calories out, right? But we all could think of right now 2 or 3 things we could do more to be more healthy. We could think of 2 or 3 things more we could do to improve our relationships. We could think of 2 or 3 things more we could do to improve our relationship with God. And yet we know this, but something in our subconscious isn't allowing us to do it. All right. And so even though it's a subconscious process, there's very real physical things that we can do to make success welcome, things that we can do to make wealth welcome, to make our ministry, our impact, our future love, or your current love more welcome in your life. And that's what we're going to cover. See, all our lives, we have been beaten down about how much you got to change, and we're not good enough here, and we're not good enough there. We were never taught the true principles of success that allow all people to win, regardless of talent, money, background, or health. We want this and we want that, and we take this and we take that, and we find out that the standard issue wisdom and guidance doesn't work for all of us. And it's time we found something that works no matter what. See, there's things that work for some people, and then there's things that work for everybody. And what I'm going to offer to you in this Countdown to Your Best Year Ever are time-tested success strategies that have worked for everybody who's worked them. So whether you want to make more money, improve your health, have better relationships, grow closer to God, find more ways to be comfortable in your own skin, this class will help you translate desire into reality by equipping you with the secrets to tear down your biggest obstacles. The best part, other than the fact that it's free, right? I mean, that's pretty big. This is a $99 class we're offering for nothing more than your most precious resource, which is your time. The best part is, though, it doesn't matter what somebody else did to you. This class will help you overcome it. It doesn't matter if you were born with genetic issues or health hindrances have come upon you later in life. It doesn't matter. This class will help you overcome them and live your best life that you can live. It doesn't matter if you were born into a poor family. This class will help you attract abundance. The only thing that matters is that you have a willingness to move forward. And all you got to do is go to jjclink.com/BYE for best year ever. Woo! Y'all, last announcement before we get into the meat of the class. I mean, actually, I just taught a whole lot in those announcements, didn't I? All right, last thing. This is our final public Think and Grow Rich class. I can't believe it's over already. It feels like we have just gotten started and just started really digging into this book. But it is. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I will not be teaching on Thanksgiving. I might throw in a replay for you, but I won't Thanksgiving. So this is our final public class, but tomorrow we will be doing the real last class as a private lesson for paid members. And it's not too late to join us. All you've got to do is go to jjclink.com/TAGR5. I'm going to throw those links up at the bottom there. It kind of ran them together, but hopefully you can see them. So the first link is jjclink.com/BYE for best year ever, the free class that we're going to start the Thursday after Thanksgiving, and then jjclink.com/TAGR5 while we are still editing and polishing the class for its final production at $9.99 at 90. Once we get everything done, it's going up to $4.99. So if you know you want in on this content, you want to be able to download the MP3s and listen to them whenever you want, then you've got these long holiday trips that you're taking. Why don't you put something in your headphones that's actually going to change your life? Give the gift of transformation with our Think and Grow Rich book study, y'all. And you can get that for yourself. You can get it as a gift for somebody else. It's a blessing all the way around. And that's at TAGR5. All right. I mean, /TAGR5. But once we get everything edited and pushed out, the price is going to go to its regular price. Okay. Let me go ahead now. And we're going to talk about, talking about tomorrow. So for those of you in the private class, we are going to cover the lessons on mastermind, sex transmutation, and epilogue, the 6 ghosts of fear. Okay. If you can't make it live, it's okay. It'll be edited and uploaded throughout the week. Now we are going to file just to get it to you, and then we'll edit it however we get it edited, however long that takes. Okay. Because my editor is P Wigs Productions. You might recognize that name. That is my firstborn, and he has been going through a lot to get these college essays done and apply for this and apply for that and apply for this and apply for that, and the Air Force Academy, y'all pray for him, and Texas A&M and all, and he did the Common Black, and it's really neat to see the responses that we're getting so far. But so far, he still hasn't gotten that juicy offer that he is praying for. So y'all help a brother out, lift him up in prayer. Okay. So what I'm saying is it may be a little while before P-Wigs gets around to editing anything, because we're allowing him to decompress a little bit now that we finished some of the big applications. We're going to decompress a little bit, and then we're going to get back into it. This has been such a fun journey, and you've come so to build on your progress with our countdown to your best year ever class. Okay, so don't forget to sign up for that. jjclink.com/BYE for best year ever. It's right below my name, even when I take down that big fat banner. Okay, so today's lesson is on persistence. And let me tell you, it took some persistence to actually be able to bring this to screen for you today. And I am so, so excited about the things that I see coming in the future, but what's in your way today. And now my computer is telling me my battery's low. So I don't know if we're going to get so long. I don't know how far we're going to get. Okay. My cord is in the other room, and I am not waking up family members to go get that cord. Everybody's had a really long day, and everybody needs their sleep for our away playoff game tomorrow. So please give me some grace if I cut off. Know that I'm gonna try to get as much in as possible. I'm trying to get this. Shouldn't be a long lesson today because it's about persistence. And the first time I took Paul Martinelli's version of this class, he had us reading this persistence chapter every day for 14 days. And I think there was a couple reasons that he did that. I think the first thing is he wanted to prove to us what persistence really was, right? And then he put me to this test of persistence. And I don't think, I don't think most of us want to identify as a procrastinator. I mean, we joke about it, right? But most people would rather identify as a persister. Well, I'm persistent. Well, great, fantastic. Okay, well, all you got to do to see just how persistent you are is read this chapter on persistence. Okay, read this chapter on persistence every day for 14 days. Let's see how persistent you are every day. Chapter 9 in this printed published. How persistent are you really are? And I'll tell you what I realized. Oh my goodness, it was a lot harder than I thought it was. I mean, this is the idea of giving yourself a command and following through with it. And we've talked about the levels of conscious awareness. We've talked about, a lot of the experience in one of the chapters. I forget which lesson it was, but it's this idea that we've got to give ourselves a command and be able to follow through with it, of being disciplined. But most of us really don't. Like, we say we're going to get up early and work out, but we snooze, snooze, snooze. So when we think of persistence, certainly our conscious awareness level of self-discipline has to be at a fairly high level if we're going to be persistent, because you're giving yourself a command. And I think also when I went through these lessons with Paul, I think he was putting through the test how coachable I was. Because you say to yourself, read it every day. Well, what does he mean by that? It certainly doesn't mean that. I mean, it can't mean that. I mean, like, over the break, I mean, come on, Christmas, Thanksgiving, certainly he doesn't want me to do it on Christmas. I mean, certainly not on the weekend. I mean, he probably means most days, right? Probably means, Monday through Friday, business hours, business days, right? Like, maybe he really means, like 3 times a week. And maybe I'll read it a couple times on Monday, and that'll give me a couple days of wiggle room. And so I've given this assignment to people to learn what I've learned. And I think it's important, as you walk through it, to understand that the purpose another purpose of reading this days is that it's going to become an identifier of your belief system, your capital B, capital S belief system, the excuses you make up, the reasons why. And I know many people say, well, okay, well, what I'm going to do is, and they follow Brian Tracy, or I'm going to eat that frog first thing in the morning. I'm going to read that chapter when I wake up. Maybe it's not a good morning. Maybe they didn't sleep well at night. Well, I'm going to go get some coffee. I'm going to check some emails. I'm going to do it in the afternoon. And then the afternoon gets away. Hey, I'm back. Ooh, ooh. Tried to get out on my phone. I had those big old great declarations of, well, I'm not going to go get that. This will hold out, y'all. And I could also be like, that's the devil. But you know what that also is? Sometimes what we call the devil, it might be the devil, but a lot of times it's our own failure to properly prepare. You know, some things are the enemy, but some things we can avoid because we are not ignorant of his devices. So when we're late for prayer and he says, you ought to just stop by Walmart and take care of that thing that you need for tonight, go pick up that thing you need for tonight. One does not go in and out of Walmart in 30 minutes, right? And you're already late for prayer, okay? The spirit was showing me, and then the computer showed me, and I still didn't go get the cord, and I just figured I was going to teach this lesson real quick and get on to celebrating finally getting through some really difficult times. And well, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So anyway, if you are still with me, or if you come back, thank you. If you are watching me on one of the things that I cannot re-upload a clean copy of the video, well then thank you for putting up with me and my failure to plan properly. I really didn't want to go out there and open up all the doors and get to where the cord was and risk waking people up. Sleep is so precious, okay? But this point of persistence is really important, because a lot of times we're like, oh, I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. I'm going to do it right when I wake up. And then we wake up, we didn't sleep well, we tossed and turned, our partner snored, whatever it is. Our kid woke us up 20 times in the night, and then we're groggy. We say, well, let me go get some coffee first. Then I'll go get some emails read. And then I'll go ahead and do it, right? Like, these are the kinds of things we say. Let me see if I can fix my computer here. See if I can fix that. These are the kinds of things we say when we don't realize it, but our subconscious is trying to prevent us from doing whatever it is we're trying to do. The afternoon gets away from us. Then we think we'll do it when we get home in the evening. And then by the time we get to bed, we can't do it because now we got a scratchy throat and we got a busy day tomorrow. So we just got to go to bed, and we miss it. And you know what we say? We say, not my fault. It wasn't my fault. Absolutely. You're right. None of that was your fault. But guess what? It's all your responsibility. And we say that a lot with anything that's hindering us. Some people get it done and some people don't. And really, at the bottom of it, it's the story that we tell ourselves. And guess what? The people who get it done, you know what we call them? Persistent. Yeah, that's what persistent is. Because the bottom line is, you can find 10 or 20 minutes a day, can't you? And if it's important to you, I mean, if you had to, you could find 10 or 20 minutes a day. It's like my 10-10-10. No matter what I try to do, 10 minutes of prayer, 10 minutes of Bible study, 10 minutes of exercise every day. And for me, the morning is the best time to knock those out, because my days really do escape me. And the next thing I know, I'm falling asleep at my computer desk, exhausted, right? But do you know how hard it is to consistently get that 10-10 and in every day? I mean, like, for me now, it really is more than 10. It's more like 30 to a minute to an hour to a minute, 30 to an hour, for depending on the activity. But still, 10 minutes is my minimum on rough days. And I have been doing that since I published that book, in 2012, 2013. Do I have one here? Oh, I think I gave it away. I wrote the book, y'all, on 10-10-10. And if I allow myself to get complacent, this flesh takes over, and all of a sudden I'm not doing anything anymore. And you can make every excuse in the world why you can't do your 10-10-10. But let me tell you what the Spirit told me in prayer. You'd have plenty of time if you get off Facebook, if you'd stop surfing the web. Oh, y'all, the one that hurt me the most. Now, for those of you who are not in Church of the Living God International, we have a June 3-day fast, and it's every week in June, and it leads up into our great church General Assembly, 10 days of church conferences, youth, brotherhood, ecclesiastical, is that the right word? Ministerial classes, like on how to preach and how to really dig into the word and understand exegesis and all that good stuff, right? But during this fast, about 3 or 4 years ago, the Lord told me to uninstall Candy Crush. Y'all, I was so hurt. Not just uninstall it off the phone, but take it off the tablet, disable it from the Facebook games. Y'all, I had no idea how much of my time and money I was spending on that free game until the Spirit told me to quit. And so the bottom line is, for most of us, you can find 10 or 20 minutes a day. And if it's important to you, you can't. If it's important to you, you can't. If it's important to you, you can. I don't know how you can't. I don't know how you can't find 10 minutes to nurture your dream. I don't know how you couldn't. I don't know how you could, because it doesn't matter what time you get up. You can set your alarm 10 minutes earlier and create some space. Or look at all the things you do in the day, create some space. Go to bed 10 minutes later, create your space. If you wanted to, you would find the time. Most of us spend 10 minutes or more in the bathroom. And I know this because I had a boss one time who had me track everybody's activities. And now I didn't go this far, but he actually wanted me to put on there how much time people were going to the bathroom. And the whole reason he had me doing this is we were converting our lab from a free government resource to a paid for service laboratory. And so he wanted to categorize how much time people were wasting, how much time people were productive. I was like, I can't do that. I am not going to ask people to track their body time. But realistically, how many of us are parents and the only free 10 minutes we get to ourselves is in the bathroom, right? It really goes back to Leland, who said, you don't have to until you want to, and then you don't have to anymore. You know, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do that. I like the way Bishop Bellinger said it. It was like the first Bishop White's anniversary I ever went to, and he was the guest speaker. He said, you got to get out of the got tos and get into the get tos. I don't got to do this. I get to do this. And if we can shift the I have to do this and get into I want to do this, then we don't ever have to again. And so I think this chapter for most people, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm going to say 95% of people do not read this chapter. I'm going to say that out there, right? I don't think they could do it 14 days in a row without failing. And I'm going to tell you, from my perspective, from my experience, a lot of us get to the 9th or 10th day and then we slip. Y'all, I have gone 13 days and then missed the last day. And it's interesting because you're sabotaging yourself on day 10 or day 11 or 12 or 13. And you having the awareness to recognize you just sabotaged your own success. And something I've said several times now in the course of these last couple of weeks is, how we do anything is how we do everything. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. How we complete a persistence challenge, it opens up our eyes to how we do everything else. And it makes us aware of the story that we tell ourselves, why we're going to do it our way, why we're trying to do it our way. Well, I know JJ said do it every day. I know JJ said read every day, but I think I could do it twice today and skip tomorrow. Or I'll do it every other day. I mean, really what JJ wants is for me to read it 14 times. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read it 14 times in one day. But hang on. That's not what I told you to do. What I told you to do is really simple, and there's no what did I mean by that. You know what I meant. You're just trying to interpret it in a different way to suit you. You think you can do it your way and still get the same result. And then when you don't come, you don't come up against the obstacles or the resistance inside of you that cheats you out of doing the other things that you said you're going to do. And then you convince yourself you don't actually need to do that. Do you see what I'm saying here? See, the reason we do this every day for 14 days is because it uncovers what's been cheating us out of our goal, what's been cheating us out of our dream. It's a great exercise. It really is. And it doesn't, and maybe you don't have a copy of the book today. I'd say pick a good proverb. Pick something that's uplifting, edifying, and encouraging, and no kidding, try to read it for 14 days in a row and watch what happens in your life. It's like It's like when I get down into prayer. So I'm a stay-at-home mom now. I work my business around my family, except Thursday nights. Thursday nights is everybody knows that they're on their own for dinner. If they have activities, they have to take care of it because mama's teaching, or she's attending community service, or she's on the board of adjustment for the city, or she's doing whatever she's doing. She's Thursday nights is mama's night to do things that doesn't involve the family. It's her night to do things. Get a little taste of being my old self again. I love being a stay-at-home mom, but it's definitely been an adjustment. So I'm glad I have this little sliver of Thursday nights, right? And but the thing is we find all of these reasons not to do the things that we say we're going to do. And so I'm staying at home now, and so I have plenty of time during the day to pray. And when I was a pastor, those sweet moments of noon prayer that I could sneak away from my job, not sneak away because it's a legit lunchtime, but when you're a salaried employee and you're high up in the food chain, you don't take a lot of time for yourself. You don't take a lot of lunches. You don't get out of the office because you work, 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 work. But when I would get those moments of prayer, I would go to our church in the mall. Those noon prayer moments would just be so sweet and so precious. And now, let me tell you, when I get down into prayer, let me tell you what happens. You got to run the laundry. Those dishes aren't done. You got to make this call to the school. Your husband asked you to do this for him, and your oldest asked you to do that for, like all the things that I forgot to do all day. It all comes back at noon prayer. It's like, well, just do this first. Just do this first. Just do this first. And so it's the same with this exercise. It's like whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is what you want to do, when you make up your mind, I'm going to be persistent about this thing for a certain length of time, and 2 weeks is a great length of time to really bring it up, you are going to find something in you will resist. Now, if you're one of the rare people that's already overcome this, that's fine. Tuck this in your back pocket for somebody else, or maybe a client that you're working with. But for most of us, you don't believe me when I'm saying this, but you're going to find out for yourself when you try it. Oh, that's what she was talking about. That's why I love this exercise. So I'm going to ask you to read this chapter once a day for 14 days. Okay. And let's see what day it is today. Today's the 16th of November. I am going to give you 1 month. So Saturday, the 16th of December, I'm going to give you the 16th of December to read this book every day for 14 days. That means you're going to have to start. You're going to have to start pretty soon. And I'm giving you extra time because why? Because I told y'all I read it 13 times in a row and forgot the 14th day. So I had to start all over. So I'm giving you time to make the mistake, but you're better than me. You're not going to make that mistake. Once a day for 14 days. And if you will do that, and you will fill out the Think and Grow Rich persistence challenge sheet, which you will find in your course portal, then I will send you PayPal or Cash App $25. Now, I'm going to show you what the form is like. If you're not a paid member of the class, you won't see this. But if you're a $7 member of the class from when I messed up the price points, you are going to actually get at what is that? 15 extra dollars? 12? No, wait. 25 minus math in public. I promise I did math for a living in the Air Force. um that's 18, that's $18 profit just from taking this class. Now how wonderful is that? This is what it looks like. Okay. And it's the date that you read it, and you're going to want these dates to be in order. And then I'm going to ask you to give some insights that you saw from that. So you're going to fill out the form, you're going to send it to me, and then I'm going to Cash App or PayPal you $25. Now look, don't you try to do this challenge and you don't have access to Cash App or PayPal. I'm not going to spend $25 on Western Union you $25, okay? So you're going to have a PayPal or a Cash App, or you're going to have to be local to Stephenville and get some cash, or you're going to need to come to Arlington, Texas for our Wealthy You, Wealth and More in 24. I mean, these are the avenues you're going to have to take. But look, if you're in a country that doesn't have Cash App and PayPal, We can work out something else, but I am not going to be sending you money if you don't have Cash App or PayPal. All right. All right. So that's the persistence challenge. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Oh, it sounds so simple. I need to have your sheets in hand by 11:59 p.m. Saturday, December the 16th. And I'm even going to be nice to you today. I'm going to give you till 11:59 Pacific time in order for you to get it turned in. That email date timestamp must be 11:59 p.m. 16 December. All right. This is a powerful exercise. You'll see. You'll see. All right. So now let's go ahead and get in our books. And again, you can get this copy of the book on Amazon, or you can download the electronic version in your portal. Okay. So we're going to go to line 57 in the persistence chapter. Okay. And he says here in this chapter, I just want to go back to that challenge again. One of the things is we always try to do things our own way. And someone once told me, I don't know how to give you the results that you want, which are my results, if you're going to keep trying to do it your way. And really what I was doing was I was trying to do things my way. I was adapting, I was benchmarking. I wasn't following what they were doing exactly because, I'm my own person. I'm an individual. I'm unique. Mm-hmm. Yeah, uniquely broke, uniquely suffering. Everybody else is getting ahead and we're not getting ahead. Okay, I'm not going to go into all that because that's not part of this book right now. Line 57. I'm right because I've been there. I had to overcome that. That's another one. I mean, I don't work with some of my mentors anymore, but I remember how they poured into me, and I give honor to whom honor is due. And I'll never forget when he was like, "Do you want to be rich, or do you want to be right, or do you want to be rich?" And I was like, "I want to be both." And like, well, sometimes you need to stop being so accurate and start being right with what we're telling you to do, which is a way that works. You don't have a way that works. He said it much more eloquently than I am right now. My way could work eventually. If you want to get where you want to go, you got to learn how to follow the way of somebody else. And now I follow the ways of somebody else who got where they needed to go, and they got there quickly and could shorten my learning curve. But as long as I was insisting on doing it my way, I was going to make tiny little incremental progress here, tiny little incremental progress there, tiny little incremental progress here. And that wasn't going to be enough to substantially move the needle in my life to give me the things that I wanted out of life. And once I realized I don't have to reinvent the wheel, and it's okay to be a uniquely amazing individual with your own personality and talents and still follow the path that somebody else has blazed. That's okay. Do what works. Then things began to change. So, line 57, Think and Grow Rich. Remember, if you're just now joining me, or if whoever's cutting my cuts has cut the other part off, you can get this book on Amazon, or you can download it electronically as part of your course portal at jjclink.com/TAGR for Think and Grow Rich. What I like about this version of the book is it's got the line numbers for each chapter. Each chapter starts over at 1, so it helps all of us be on the same page, no matter whether we've got the electronic version or the print version. All right, line 57. Your subconscious mind works continuously while you are awake and while you are asleep. Spasmodic or occasional effort to apply the rules will be of no value to you. You know what I would do is I would take my pen and underline no value. Because, see, he could have put the word some value, couldn't he? But he chose no value, as in none, nada, zippo. Spasmodic or occasional effort to apply the rules will be of what? No value. To get the results, you must apply all of the rules until their application becomes a fixed habit within you. In no other way can you develop the necessary money consciousness. Huh. And again, this goes right back to our teaching that we did on autosuggestion. And I know that was a little uncomfortable for some of you, so I'm really glad you hung in there with me on it. I hope it's bearing fruit in your life. It goes right back into the teaching when we talk about the stick person. Do I have my stick person? There's my stick person. One of the many stick people on my desk. Like, I guess I just keep redrawing him. It goes back to what we were talking about with the stick person. You know, what we've been doing, we've already decided we're going to take the mind and the brain and all those different things, and we're going to look at it in a new way. You know, something is going to grow in the garden of your mind. And if you're not intentional, and guess what? Just because you plant the beautiful flower doesn't mean the weeds won't grow. Weeds will grow all around it and eventually kill it if we're not intentional about nurturing this flower. So, you know, we've talked about taking the helm of thought. The way the Bible says it is that we are taking captive any thoughts, okay, that are contrary to the word of God. We got to continually place ourselves in an environment conducive to our growth. We've got to nurture. We've got to cherish, nurture, and foster our dream, like James Allen says in As a Man Thinketh. Cherish, nourish, foster, because our dream is under attack. It's under attack from that old programming. It's under attack from friends and family and people who are at lower levels of awareness, right? Your dream is in a fight for its life. It's in a fight for territory. It's in a fight for territory in your mind. It's a fight for territory in your subconscious. It's in a fight for territory for you to actually believe that it can happen. And you can't afford to give any portion of your mind an inch to doubt or to fear or to worry. That's why the occasional doing it is a waste of time. Go to the gym a couple times a week, right? I'm going to tell you what, a couple times a week doesn't get it done. Diet one day a week, it doesn't get it done. You got to have consistency. It's all about consistency. You know, I remember this. One of my mentors told me about a time that they paid $1.5 million to run some radio ads on Rush Limbaugh's show. And if those of you who don't know him, he's definitely not high on my priority list of people to like. But even if you didn't like him, he had 51 million people a week who listen. So somebody likes him, right? Well, part of the deal was that he and John Maxwell, I'm an executive director on John Maxwell team. He and John Maxwell would meet with Rush Limbaugh so they could make sure, you know, he's reading their ads live, and they want to make sure they understand each other and they understand what's going on. So they're at Rush's office. They're getting along fine. Everything's going fine. And he says to John Maxwell, you've written 125 books. You've traveled all over the world. You train people in every country. You got 20,000 coaches everywhere. Well, now it's like 40,000, but you speak, people listen, right? And he says, if you had to teach people one lesson, what's the most powerful thing that you could tell them? What's the number one thing that you would tell me? And John didn't say, that's a good question. Let me think about that. John, with no hesitation, he leaned in. He's like, never underestimate the compounding effect of consistency. Never underestimate the compounding effect of consistency. And Rush leaned back and said, you are dead right. That's really good. I never thought of it. I knew it, but I never thought of it. And that's why I'm encouraging you, as I have done from day one, go through this program again and again and again and again and again. Just allow the things that we're talking about to be. Make it, get the downloadable MP3s in the portal, make it the soundtrack of your life. While you're walking, let it play. When you're driving, just let it penetrate and get into the marrow of who you are. Just listen to the wisdom of what we're talking about and let it play. Let it play in the background of your office if you can do that. Even if it's just, even if it's just one turn above audible, so you can hear it, but it's not, it's not disrupting everybody. Stay in the frequency that we're talking about. Don't let it slip away. Stay in the energy. Stay in the energy of your dream all the time, daily. And you will be amazed at how quickly this effect of consistency compounds in your life. And so this chapter, this chapter, this chapter on persistence is different because, all of the other chapters are principles. Desire is a principle. Imagination is a principle. This is the only chapter that is a state of mind. Persistence. And he defines it that way. He says persistence is a state of mind. All the other chapters, they're kind of like principles. They're things to understand and do or take advantage of. Persistence. You would think persistence would be like imagination, right? Where you do something and that's what you would think persistence, because how can you be persistent without doing something? But what he's saying is it's a state of mind. It's not an activity. It's persistence isn't a doing thing. Now, it presents itself as a result of doing things, right? But really, the fact that we're doing things is a telling sign of the state of mind of persistence. See, the fact that you can actually make it 14 days in a row and read the chapter shows that we have become accustomed to operating in a state of mind of persistence. The fact that we try to read for 10 minutes a day, or we try to exercise for 10 minutes a day, or we try to do XYZ for 10 minutes a day, and we find ourselves making excuses over and over and over and over again, it shows the state of our mind. And it ties so closely into decision where it's a personal responsibility thing. It's a you and you thing. And people ask, well, are you coachable? Are you coachable? You're part of the program. You say you want to do the program. You want to jump in. You want to use the resources. You give things to people and they say, well, I've already done it. I've already done that. I've already done that. And I find myself asking, are you coachable? And people go, oh, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes. Okay. Do this. Well, I'll do 90% of that. Maybe doing 97%, that should be good enough. I don't know. I don't know if you doing 90% of what I'm telling you to do or what I'm recommending you do is going to work for you, because all I know is I did 100% of what I did. Now, I understand, people have different situations, but you asked me what I did and I told you what I did, and you said you were willing to do what I did. You said you were willing to do everything. You said, how did you get out of this? This always cracks me up. How, JJ, how did you get out of $845,000 of debt that was run up in your name? But when I tell you, you look at it and you're like, well, I'm going to get out of debt doing it this other way that I want to do it. I'm going to go to this hotel room, and I'm going to put this $10,000 on my credit card. But see, you didn't ask me how to get your results. You asked me how to get my results. And so people say, well, how did you turn your life around when your world came crashing down after that divorce, or after those 2 car accidents in 8 months, which totally altered my job? And when I tell them what I did, I asked the Lord to help me. He led me to mentors who took me through the lessons and the content, and I worked with those mentors to package that content and offer to you. That's why I teach Think and Grow Rich, and that's why I teach, we call it self-image rising and self-image mastery. That's why I teach psycho-cybernetics, because that's what worked for me. When the doctor tells you your life is over, you got 10 good years left, go home and hug on your kids while you still can, while you still recognize them. People say, well, JJ, I'm thinking about doing this program, I'm thinking about launching that, and whatever it is, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, I think you should do this. I think you should do what worked for me. And honestly, I've never said, girl, here's what I think you should do. I think you should do 90% of what I'm about to tell you. I've never said, take out what you like to do out of this and just do the 90%. Whatever 10% you don't like, just go ahead and cut that off. Just take it off the table. Don't do everything I'm telling you. I don't think I've ever mentored or coached, anybody that way. I mean, and I'm pretty direct, right? Like if people want coaching, I'll give coaching. If people want mentoring, I'll give mentoring. But if you're asking me for mentoring, when I give you a suggestion, I'm telling you, do this, do this, do this. And sometimes here's the other thing. Sometimes I can't even explain the reasons why I'm saying to do it. I don't know why. I just trust the Lord. And just do it because it's coming to my awareness, and I've learned how this intuition, how this intuitiveness works. I know how it taps into the spirit. I know how to interpret that, and I really believe that the Lord is allowing me to have greater and greater discernment. And when I come up with these things, it's not me coming up with it. See, some people don't understand that whether you believe in the Lord or don't believe in the Lord, the structure of the universe is a fabric through which the ideas and things are carried. Now, people back in the day when they didn't understand how signals went through the air and all that, they called it the ether, and they say it flows through the ether. And I believe, even though we understand a lot about it, there's still a lot we don't understand. It's how I can be thinking of you all the way across the country, and you decide to call me. It's how I can have the same idea, and if I don't act on it, you get the same idea. And if you don't act on it, somebody in Russia gets the same idea. And then all of a sudden they become millionaires off of it, right? It's all connected. And I'm getting better and better at tuning in what God's telling me to do. And I know God's voice in my life. And when He brings coaching clients to me, and brings mentoring clients to me, I'm in tune with what He's telling me to tell them for their life. And I find it very interesting. I find it very interesting that I have never told anybody the best way for you to proceed forward is to take out your credit card and pay me $20,000. I've never told anybody that. I should start doing it. You know why? Because people will dismiss something that I tell them to do, and then they'll go to the next guru and they'll take out the credit card and get themselves $20,000 into debt because they think that that's going to help them move forward. And I'm like, well, if you would have just done X, Y, and Z, you would have moved so far forward. You'd be making 20,000 instead of losing 20,000. Now, most of the time in coaching, I'm going to ask questions instead of telling you what to do, right? But when it comes time to actually mentor someone and say, here's what I think you should do, I know I'm right. There's no opinion. There's no opinion about it. And it's another reason why I make decisions very quickly, because I know I'm right. And I don't know how I know I'm right. I just know I'm right. I count on the Lord. And when you've been walking with the Lord long enough that you need to know, you've been walking with the Lord long enough, you need to know that you're right too, that you do hear His voice. My husband and my boys, they've learned there's times like, just trust me. I know I'm right on this. I got a feeling on this. There's no evidence that I should be right. And then on the back end, they're like, wow, she was right. Huh. I guess that's one good thing that come from all those car accidents is really learning how to trust the voice of the spirit in my life. No reason I should know, but I know. And when I'm in the flow working on somebody, it's a secular blessing, because most of the time it's a secular situation. We're working in a corporate environment, but it's a spiritual blessing. So when I'm telling somebody do this, it's not about doing 90% of it. And really, why take the risk? If it's something you really want, why are you trying to shave off a few minutes here or there? Doesn't make any sense. I think it's the ego, because I used to do the 90% too back in the day. Well, maybe 50% sometimes, because I thought I knew better. I just finished telling you I know, right? I thought I knew better, but I wasn't getting any results back then. Life is the sum of your decisions. If you don't like the results you're getting, you got to come to face with the fact that you have made decisions that gave you those results. Now, there are things that people have injected into your life, but you still made the decisions that resulted in how you have responded. And for me, one of the biggest things was my ego. Always trying to prove how smart I was. Always trying to prove I was good enough to sit at the big kids' table. It's like, I see what you're saying, but I'm going to interpret it this way because I think I know best. I can see how, yeah, I don't think I need to do that. And you know what I've discovered as a pastor and financial coach? I've learned that the only thing worse about somebody lacking awareness is having somebody think they have it. And man, I was the worst. Okay, okay. Let's go to 122. Let's go to line 122 on the next page. He says he says if we if we don't if we don't possess if we don't possess persistence, we don't achieve noteworthy success in any calling. One thing we all know, if one does not possess persistence, one does not achieve noteworthy success in any calling. Huh. Well, how about that? So if we don't cultivate the state of mind that he calls persistence, it doesn't matter what you're going to do. If you're not persistent, if you don't persist in this state of mind, and again, this state of mind is a level of consciousness, it's energy, it's a frequency, it's a frequency of consciousness. You know, the reason so many of us live down in these lower levels is because we don't have the persistence to maintain that dream in the forefront of our mind long enough for this to become our new level of awareness. Long enough for this to become our new level of awareness. And there's 7 levels of awareness, and this one level is a critical one, the ability to give yourself a command and follow through with it. And that's what discipline is. And so we are going to do a deep dive on the 7 levels. I actually, it would probably be, I think I'll do that as part of the Black and Gold conference. That'll be fun. So the day after Thanksgiving, we do a Black and Gold conference, and that'll be fun. Okay. Now look, there may be no heroic connotation to the word persistence. Okay, but the quality is to the character of man what carbon is to steel, which is, what is it? Carbon is what makes steel strong and hard and solid. It's what makes steel dependable. It's what makes steel durable. It's what makes steel steel. The carbon, the substance carbon. I want to say go Steelers, but they're really not doing so well this season. And he's saying here, excuse me, he's saying here that persistence is to man what carbon is to steel. It's the characteristic of man. It's the characteristic of man. It will make you and break you. And this is why I think, what we're reading is that we're not going to reach success in any endeavor, and no noteworthy success in any calling without persistence. So one of the things that he does throughout this book, which I think is quite useful. And again, I've got some worksheets for you in the portal. You should have already seen them by now. If not, let me know, because I know certain people how we added them is causing problems. But we're if you haven't seen them, let me know. But even if you don't have access to them, we've got the book here. If you go down to 177, persistence is based on definite causes. And there's a worksheet for this, okay? There's a worksheet for all of these different causes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 causes of persistence. And then he goes into another list, and that is the symptoms of lack of persistence. Well, that starts at about line 205. Series of questions and statements you should look at, and I mean go all the way through. I made this into a handout for you, like if you don't want to try and print the pages in the book, but really give it some thought. Really give it some thought. Like number 2 is procrastination. If procrastination pops up in your life, it is a symptom that you don't have the mind set of persistence. Here's another one that might be a little bit surprising to you. The habit of neglecting to move on ideas or grasp opportunity when it presents itself. That's number 12. And so a lot of times we think, oh, well, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to analyze this and analyze that, and I am not going to make a snap decision. I know when it comes to money, if you high pressure me with the first time I heard it, well, it's only, it's $20,000 and you can have it for 200, but only in the next 3 seconds. Well, then my answer is no, right? But that's not what he's talking about here. But a lot of times people who are are caught in lack of success, people who are trapped in poverty, they make decisions very slowly. That's what he's getting at here. People who have um success, they grasp opportunity when it arrives. They move on ideas. I'm going to give you an example of this. I had a plane ticket one time, and it was a transferable plane ticket on Southwest, and I couldn't use it. I forget why I couldn't use it, but I posted it online like, hey, if anybody wants a ticket, it has to be used by next weekend. And I had I can't forget why I don't remember why I couldn't go on the original trip, but it was back when Southwest, it was like a year or two ago, back when Southwest credits expired. And so it had to be used by like 2 weekends. And I had something planned for each of those where it was easier to drive than to fly, because I live 2 hours from the airport, and then you got to be there 2 hours, or like it was no sense for me to fly. I literally posted that and had zero responses. I didn't even get anybody who said, "Hey, is that a spam? Is that a joke? It's not April Fool's Day, but what's going on there?" I didn't even get that. And it was months later when somebody had mentioned it to me. Yeah, I saw that, but I really was like, "Oh, she must have gotten scammed or something, or it must be a prank." And I'm like, "No, I was literally trying to give away $500 worth of flight credit because it was about to expire and I couldn't use it, and it just burns me up." People did not take advantage of the opportunity. Why? Because we've been so scarred by things that cause us to act in fearful ways. It causes us to act in sluggish ways. It causes us to act in procrastinating ways. And it causes us to be afraid to move forward on our dreams. And even this class, I mean, think about this class. You know, I really want everybody who's under the sound of my voice to go get the class. If you had clicked the class when I first talked about it, rather than the save $400 and get it for 99 that it was supposed to be. No, actually, I think I made the first group 25 because it's a new platform and I'm inexperienced with it. And I wanted to get people in to help me beta test it, basically. But the first group, before that group, it was $7. I don't know why it was $7. I don't know. I really, in my heart, believe that the Lord wanted to bless somebody and just had me fat finger in the wrong thing. And I sold a bunch of them before I realized what happened. So I really think, don't, when you believe that the Lord is working things out on your behalf, when you believe that the universe is operating in your favor, when stuff like that happens, it was done for you. And I remember being 800 some $1,000 in debt. And I remember when things like that would happen to me all the time. Something that should have been $100 was $1, and I would always be a little hesitant, but it's like, what have I got to lose? You know, just like the Epic Pass. I'm gonna give you another example, and then we're gonna move on from this. The Epic Pass is a free. It's not free. It's not free. Let me not say it that way. The Epic Pass is a heavily discounted season pass. Okay, so if you were to go ski in Breckenridge, it costs about $200 for your lift ticket. If you have an Epic Pass and you are a military member, the regular Epic Pass is like $900 a year. But for retired and active duty military, it's $160 something. It's less than the cost of going skiing one time, and you get access to like 30 or 40 different resorts, all for that one price for the whole season, right? Well, when they first came out with the Epic Pass, I was stationed in Northern Virginia, and it was like $50, $45. It was something really low like that. And the promotion that they offered to the military was even a discount on top of that. Like it was even more discounted than that. And so all you had to do was drive up to the mountain. And not only did you get all of next year's season free, but this was like December. So you got the rest of that season pass, and your pass was good for next season. You were buying next season's pass, but it was also going to give you the rest of this season, which went from December to March. Okay. So I want you to think about this. I remember in my mind, what if this is a scam? What if me and my son burn a tank of gas to drive an hour away to get to this mountain, and we get up there and it's a scam? And I was like, well, I'll at least know we can go the first day because we got the free gift tickets from the base, and we got the free gear from the base. I forget, I don't even remember how this happened, but I was like, all it's going to cost me is a tank of gas to go find out, right? And y'all, I got up there, and the first lady wouldn't work with me. But the second lady was like, you know what? I'm going to give you your son's tag absolutely free. So for about 45, 50 bucks, me and my big one, who was at that time like 7 or 8, we went skiing several times, well, snowboarding several times a month. And then during the breaks, we went quite often because it was only an hour away. So, I mean, it got chilly quick, but you could get up there after work. And then all weekend, we would camp at the base of the mountain and get right back up there. And not only were we able to get that, but the lady told us where we could find some clearance snowboard gear. And so, for all of about, I think about 150 to maybe 175 total for 2 seasons, we got so much skiing and snowboarding in. And you think, well, how did JJ have all this fun when she was supposed to be $800,000 in debt? I think by then, I think I was only at 500,000 in debt. I think I had paid off all the consumer debt. It was just the upside down real estates that we were trying to unload. And it's like, because opportunities opened up, and I didn't get all $200 worth of that equipment at once. We got some here when we could afford it. We got some there. But I jumped on the opportunity. And even maybe a couple months ago, I was telling somebody about it. It's $160 for military. And they're like, well, I really want to take my family on vacation. Get you the pass and your 10 buddy passes. But people were so sluggish, nobody bought into it. And I was just like, then they ended up paying over $1,000 to go take their family. Do you see what I'm talking about opportunities? It's one thing if you don't have the thing that the opportunity requires. So I don't want you to hear what I'm not saying. If the opportunity is $10,000, but you only got 5,000 in your hand, that's not the opportunity for you. Not from me. You're not going to hear that from me, because I teach people to get out of debt. Okay. If the opportunity is $20,000 and it's the opportunity of a lifetime for you to go be on stage with one of your favorite, singing acts, or one of your favorite speakers, or one of your favorite presidents, or the Secretary of State, or whatever, whatever gets you going there. And you only have $5, that's not the opportunity for you. And so it doesn't mean it doesn't mean you jump on the opportunity. You find a way to make that opportunity right for you. And so that's not the same as hemming and hawing and neglecting to move on ideas. See, hemming and hawing and number 12, neglecting to move on ideas or grasp opportunity would be like, oh, that's nice. That can't possibly be real. If it's too good to be true, it is. Or it's, well, that would really be great, but I don't have $20,000 to be on stage with. Who would I want to be on stage with? You know who I want to interview? Y'all gonna laugh at me for this, but you know who I want to interview? There's a couple people I want to interview. I'm going to throw them out there. I want to interview Rachel Dolezal. I know she's out of favor, but I want to interview her because I want to understand what she was going through. And as a mom who has made sacrifices for my kids, I kind of understand where she's going through. I want to interview Colin Kaepernick. I want to interview Colin Kaepernick. I really do. I want to interview him. And you know who else I want to interview? And I keep saying this, and I think I need to just write his name and stick it to my sticky note thing over here. Because I keep forgetting his name. I want to interview the guy at Jackson State who hired Coach Prime. I want to interview them. So if the opportunity to interview one of these three people came up and I had to have $20,000 and I didn't have $20,000 in the bank, then then neglecting to move ideas would be like, oh, well, that's nice, but I don't have $20,000. I guess my dream is never going to come to pass. But moving on the ideas doesn't mean pulling out the credit card or taking a personal loan or mortgaging my house. Moving on that idea when I don't have it might be calling them up and finding out, can I serve? Is there something I can do? Is there some way I can be of use to you? Is there some way I can trade this for that? There are so many things you can get out of life when you are creative and allow the opportunities to open up to you. But when we are not persistent, some people have all the luck. Some people have all the opportunities. Oh, some people have all the breaks. No one cares about the little guy. Okay, so I think I've covered that concept pretty well. I want you to go in the portal and I want you to look through these. And I remember the first time that not the first time that I read the book, because the first time that I read the book, y'all, I glossed over all that. Like, I don't need that. I'm in the military kicking butt and taking names. I don't need all that. I'm very persistent. I'm very disciplined. I'm very motivated, right? Wrong. I was persistent, motivated, and dedicated in the things where somebody else told me how to do it, what to do, and where to be, what to wear. I was not persistent and motivated in that squishy, scary space of here's my dream. And I don't know how this is going to happen, but I know I need to move forward. And today you may not know how it's going to happen, but you need to move forward. And to move forward, I'm going to encourage you to stay in the energy of these lessons and these calls. If you will stay in the energy of these lessons and these calls, you will see a change in the energy that you walk in day to day. There are no limitations. You might remember this quote from the end of one of the other chapters. There are no limitations to your mind except those you acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of your thought. Keep that in mind. And please, please, please take care of yourself. Take care of your forms of abundance, your relationships, your physical, your spiritual, your expression. Take care of your forms of abundance and allow yourself to be blessed. That's all I've got for you. I hope that you will sign up with me at jjclink.com/BYE for best year ever, and that you will be a part of our countdown to our best year ever. Don't be yet another casualty of the New Year's resolution that's broken by day 2 or 3. Instead, let's walk through these lessons and set you up for success. I hope you have enjoyed our Think and Grow Rich class. If you are a paid member in the portal, then tomorrow morning you should get a Zoom link with our final class. And I can't wait to talk with you about it. We're going to talk about the mastermind. We're going to talk about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. We're going to talk about the power of sex transmutation. And I know it's going to be a little uncomfortable for some of you being in a mixed crowd, but it'll be all right. You'll be all right, okay? We're also going to talk about the 6 ghosts of fear, which is the epilogue of the book, How to Outwit the 6 Ghosts of Fear, such as the fear of old age. Y'all, it's going to be good. Okay. I don't see any questions, and I forgot to tell you, you could ask them. But I'm going to give some space. If you have a question, drop it in the chat real quick. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and pack up and see if I can still catch some time with Mr. Man before he goes to bed. All right. I don't see any questions, so feel free to PM. Again, if you're in the portal, you should have my text number, and you can text a question to me, and you should have my email. You can email a question, or you can schedule time to ask a face-to-face Zoom question. If I don't see you between now and then, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I hope you have a wonderful time with people who care about you, whether they're blood family or not. And if you don't have anybody to spend time with on Thanksgiving, you come on out and visit me. It's a little bit of a drive, but it'll be worth it to be around somebody who wants to uplift you and encourage you. And if you can't be around me, well, I think I'm gonna make a little thanks session. So be on my mailing list, and I will let you know when we open that up, just to sit down and be thankful with each other via Zoom on Thanksgiving Day. Y'all take care. Be blessed.